Your presenter for the Customer Satisfaction and Customer Relationship Workshop is myself. We've got lots of professional and experts in their fields speaking today, and I suppose some of you know me in my role at the Muswellbrook Chamber of Commerce, and might be asking, well, what gives you the qualifications to be talking about this subject today? So just a little quick background. In another life, I used to own a company called Customer Care International, and it was a company that specialised in customer service, customer satisfaction and customer relationships. And that company used to have a footprint from basically right up the East Coast, and we had thousands of small to medium businesses that we used to assist with helping them focus on this subject. But we also had a number of large businesses that we worked with, like Westpac, Fantastic Furniture, with all their stores around the country, Star Trek Express, GJ Gardner Homes, NIB, and Crown Forklifts, just to name a few. Unfortunately, that business was a casualty of the global financial crisis, and some of you who may have been at the Inspirations Conference last year might have got a bit of an insight into the history that followed on from that. And that's a story for another day. But that sort of just gives you a bit of an idea of why it gives me the qualifications to be talking about this subject. So the first thing that I would say about it is what I normally find is that people go, boring, switch off, heard it all before, ho hum, here we go again, da 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 da, and so a lot of what I'll be touching base on today, you've heard it all before, and my job today is to remind you of the ultimate importance of it, because you might have lost sight of it. And the question I would put to you today, is your head in the sand when it comes to the value and the importance of your customer? Okay. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but there is actually a customer revolution taking place. And I'll talk a little bit more about that further into the presentation. You need to understand that customers today have choice and they know how to use it. Okay, it's a far more competitive world today than it used to be. And also, I hear a lot of people go, look, it's not really my focus at the moment. I've got a lot going on, I've got a lot of other things to worry about, and they sort of look after themselves. Okay? What I'm going to try and do today is really try and rattle your cage a little bit about changing your focus when it comes to customers. Okay? Reality check for you, first and foremost. Your business does not pay your bills, support your lifestyle, or pay your wages. Your customers do. Now, today when I talk about customers, for some of you in the room, you may have clients, you may have members, you may have people who donate to you. Whatever that is that drives or your business relies on, I'm just going to refer to them today as a customer, okay? So you just put that into your own context, okay? But the bottom line is, right, your business is in business for one reason, and that's customers. Now, if you don't believe me, try going without them for a few months. All right? Now, COVID has been a really good example of that, because during lockdowns, etc., we've seen a lot of businesses who had to close their doors, but unfortunately, which led to no customers, but their business expenses still continued and their outgoings were still there. And the impacts of that were quite significant. Now, so again, if you don't believe me, I dare you, try it for a few months and see how you go if you don't have any customers. Very important that you understand that. So, your customers make you money, your business costs you money. Has anyone worked that out? Okay? There's this misconception of it's my business that makes me money. I've owned quite a number of businesses, and I can tell you all of them have cost me money. It's the customers who bring revenue into that business that actually pays the bills. So with that in mind, understanding that, does it make sense that you should put your customer or put the customer first? Agreed? If you understand that, if the customer is the ultimate breadwinner for your business, does it make sense that we need to put them first? Okay? Does it make sense that we need to make them your number one priority amongst everything else? Okay? But Wayne, I hear you say, you don't understand, you know. We're just busy. There's a lot of stuff. Like there's just so much to do. Like I've got staff, I've got inventory, we've got this and that, and you know, and we just, it's just so hard. I get it, I understand it, I really do, because I've fallen into the trap myself. But what I want to try and do today is try and get you to position the customer, and don't let that focus on the customer slip. Okay, because it's really easy to do, and like I said, we can often take them for granted. Okay, it's all about, you know, about a practice of being really focused on the customer. Here's a little quote for you. If you make a sale, you can make a living. If you make an investment of time and good service in a customer, you can make a fortune. There are many, many examples of successful companies and businesses around the world that will put the key to their success down to that focus on being customer-centric. This is always a good reminder. There is only one boss, the customer. And he can fire everybody in the company, from the chairman on down, simply by spending their money somewhere else. Now, you might just be a small business. That's okay. All right? You can easily become redundant if you don't take in the value of your customer. So what I'm going to try and help you do today is to try and fuel growth by shifting on a stronger customer focus. Okay? If you want to increase your profits and have a reputation second to none, become customer centric. Make the customer the priority. Now, I'm not going to sort of get into the how-tos today. I would recommend, just like Lavinia has spoken this morning about what she does, and how Tab has talked about what she does, if you want to know how to really implement the strategies to drive this, then I would suggest that you engage a professional that specialises in this field to help you. My goal today is to get you thinking about where your focus currently is when it comes to your customers. So, I've just given you a handout. I hope everyone's got one. Now, this might seem like a bit of a no-brainer, and it might go, well, that makes sense. Unfortunately, what I found, though, is common sense is not real common. And what I would like you to do is just go through that list that I've given you, which is the best customer, and just very quickly just select A or B out of those. So the first one, which is the best customer? The one you already have and has brought from you in the past, or B, the one you are trying to get and has never brought from you? What is the best form of advertising? A, word of mouth from an existing customer, or B, a traditional advertising and marketing? Which customer has the greater chance of repeat business? A, the one you already have and has brought from you in the past, or B, the one you are trying to get and has never bought from you? And the last one is, which customer has the greater chance of bringing you referral business? A, the one you already have and has brought from you in the past, and the one you are trying to get and has never brought from you. Pretty easy. Okay, so has everyone circled all of that? Again, bit of a no-brainer, eh? Who in the room has pretty much the majority circled A? Okay. Who in the room, this'll be a killer. Who in the room has circled B? They're not going to be going to put their hand up. Okay. All right. Again, and I want you to keep that bit of paper. Okay, and just put it on your desk somewhere, and every now and then just refer back to it as a bit of a reminder. You know, where is my focus at the moment? All right. Okay. Because again, as we progress today, it's going to become more and more clear as to where you need to be putting your attention. Okay. Do you know it costs 5 times more to attract a new customer than it does to retain an existing one? And increasing customer retention rates by 5% can increase your profits by 25 to 95%. Now, for the sake of the exercise again, just on the back of that, if you want to just turn that paper over for me, here's what I'll get you to do. Just draw a line right down the middle of the page, top to bottom. Just draw a line down. I'm not as organised as Tab, and not in depth as Tab, but so draw the line down, and on the left-hand side put customers or customer, and on the right-hand column at the top put business. Okay. Now, just first of all put now, so present time now, and I want you to just in your mind put down a percentage. What do you think the percentage of time and investment you are focusing right, currently in your business on the customer, and what your time and energy and investment is on the business? Take a moment to give some thought to it. It's not an exact science, but just,
What's the window, Wayne? Is it like the last week?
Yep, can be the last week if you like. Or where do you think as an operating person, where do you think you spend most of what percentage of time and focus and energy are you spending on the left and on the right? Now, given that I've sort of highlighted the importance of the customer, who is happy with that percentage? Does anyone feel that they would like to shift the percentage either way? So I'm hoping there's an interest to shift from a bit of more of a focus away from just the business onto the customer. Is that true? So what I'll get you to do is just draw a line underneath that and then just put maybe goal. And I'd like you to put a percentage of where you would like that to be sometime in the future. What percentage of focus and time and energy do you want to now devote to the customer in the future? And what is it in terms of the time? And now you might go, well, I just can't drop the ball on my business because there's just so much going on. Again, I understand that and I get it, but okay, I'm just trying to get you to move your thoughts across to that left-hand side of the column and being about the customer. Now, what type of customer are you creating? What do you mean? Aren't they all the same? Isn't a customer just a customer? Well, no. Oils ain't oil, salt, and customers ain't just customers. Okay, the type of customer that you create in your business, okay, is in direct relation to how satisfied they are with dealing with you. Okay, and each can have different impacts on your business. So, what we did over the course of our company, we helped businesses identify what type of customers that they are actually creating. And there was 8 of them. And if I could ask someone maybe to just hand these out for me. This is a really important aspect that will help to understand your customers. First one was an ambassador. Oh, can I just have one of those tabs? Sorry. Thanks very much. Okay. So the first one is your performance is superior performance, and you call them an ambassador. The second, you have excellent performance, and they're an advocate. The third is they're very good, and they're loyal. Satisfactory, they're an acquaintance. You'll notice that there's no good in here, because good is today's average. There's no longer a good. You're either satisfactory or average. Your performance is fair, and your customers will be strangers. Your performance is poor, and you'll have a disappointed customer. You'll have bad performance, and they'll be angry. Or you'll have very bad performance, and you've created a terrorist. Okay? And don't laugh. We've seen businesses that actually have had that, the last one. So just to simply expand on these for you. So superior is someone who is basically, they're an ambassador for you, right? They're basically a raving fan about your business, right? They're a customer forever. They are extremely strong repeat business, extremely strong at referring. They'll actually go out of their way to promote and recommend your business every chance they get. Excellent service is you'll create an advocate, and that is someone who's very happy to continue as a customer with solid repeat business. They're good at referring, will mention and recommend you when the opportunity arises, i.e. they might be, at a dinner party somewhere and someone talks about, buying this or that, and they go, well, that's actually, we used this guy recently and he, we would really recommend them. Okay. Very good is someone who's loyal, all right? They're happy to be a customer, but it could change if your satisfaction levels drop. I call them like fence sitters. They're loyal, but they could go either way very quickly if your standards drop and your performance starts to wave away. They're good repeat business while your standards remain high, and will only recommend you when asked. So you might think, I've got these really good loyal customers, right? But they may not stay that way, forever if your standards do not continue to keep those high standards. And they'll only recommend you if someone goes, oh, listen, mate, we're thinking of doing some renovations. Do you know anyone that does this or does that? And they'll go, yeah, actually, we've used these guys. Okay. So there's a slight difference there between the first two. Satisfactory, again, like I said, it's the new good. They're an acquaintance. Okay. They're an average customer. They come and go. They're easily swayed by competition. Often buy from you because of convenience. So what I mean by that is they go, oh, look, I really need this today. I don't really want to travel down to Maitland to get it. I'll just go over to so-and-so here in Muswellbrook and grab it. You sort of get what I'm at, and they're an average level of repeat business, and rarely will think to recommend you. Okay? You probably just, you're there. They know that you provide satisfactory sort of service, and they're happy to deal from you from time to time. If your service is fair, what you'll find is you'll get an inconsistent customer. They'll buy from you from time to time. There's little chance they'll have repeat business and little chance that they will recommend you. Basically, they're just not on your radar. You've lost them because you just haven't met their expectations. Poor, they may buy from you once or twice, but then they don't return. You've got no chance of repeat business, no chance of a referral, and they'll give you a bad review if asked. So again, if I use the dinner party example, someone they might be talking about, do you ever reckon, oh mate, I wouldn't go near those guys. This has been my experience, blah, 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 and they vomit all over them, and so it's like, just bad news. So bad service, we've probably all had an experience of who's had an experience of bad service, right? Okay, you'll all relate to this, you're just not going to go back. Little chance that you will return. There's no chance of repeat business. Often they'll damage your business in the short term with bad feedback, particularly on things like social media and stuff. All right, okay, and just by telling others. Very, very dangerous customers to have in your business. And of course, the last one is very bad, and that's the terrorist. I mean, these guys are extremely dissatisfied. They hold a grudge and want revenge, right? They will go out of their way to destroy you and your business, okay? They are on a mission to tell everyone they meet how bad you are and never to use you. Now, you might think that's an extreme, but through our company experience, we've seen businesses with all levels of those sorts of customers, all right? So again, I'd like you to maybe just hang on to that sheet for future reference. Because what I want to try and help you understand today is that to what drives that type of customer is basically an equation of customer service plus customer relationships equals your customer satisfaction levels, which in turn then equates to what type of customer that you're actually creating. So let's look at the first one, the customer service. Really, really important today that you understand, right, that good is today's average. You know, we really do have good service. Well, guess what? It's a very competitive market out there. A lot of people have good service. Good is just simply not enough today. You must find a way to stand out. You have to actually create a point of difference. You must not only meet people's expectations, but you must exceed them. Okay? And here's the other thing. You've got to be consistent. You know, your service levels can't be good one day, bad one day, and people just don't know what they're going to get. Okay? You know, gee, it was really great. I was in there the other day and it was great, and then I went into Mr. Saggy Pants and down in the mouth today, and it was just terrible, absolutely atrocious. So I'm not going to go back there again, right? So a lot of this customer-centric focus has to be driven from you, from the top down, right down through your organisation, because a lot of your frontline people are the face of your business. So you've got to make sure that they are also aware of the importance of the customer. So I would recommend that you get together with them and try and convey some of this message to them and help them understand that person coming through the door, right, you want to say to them, listen, I don't pay your wages. You might think I do, but see that person who just walked through the door? They pay your wages, okay? All right, because without them, I don't get it in and I don't give it out to you, all right? And so you've got to get their buy-in and see where they're at. Here's one by Henry Ford. He seemed to have got it right. A business absolutely devoted to service will only have one worry about profits, and that is that they will be embarrassingly large. Okay. I spoke earlier about the customer service revolution. There was a time where customers, it was very much just price driven. People were happy to pay a cheaper price and weren't that concerned if it wasn't the best quality or the service wasn't there, or it was more very much about price. And then what happened? People began to realise that, there's a price of something and there's a cost of something. It might be cheaper, but it's actually costing me more in the long run because the quality's not there or whatever the case may be. So what's happened probably over the last 10 years, there's been a very major pendulum swing back the other way, where customers now are actually prepared to pay a little bit more if they know and are confident that they're going to get a quality product, but more importantly, quality service. Who in the room would agree with that? Who would prefer to, happy to pay a little bit more as long as the service is there and all that sort of stuff? Okay, so if you're thinking that way, guess what? So are your customers. So you need to understand that they're coming to you with an expectation, not just around price. They're coming to you with an expectation around service and relationships, and ultimately a customer satisfaction. Okay. just trying to read a few notes here, guys, so I don't miss anything on you. I mean, the other thing I think I spoke earlier about, it's on this next slide, is the consistency. As I said, it's not just price alone today, it's service, quality. Consistency, again, is a really big one. I mean, McDonald's is a really good example. I mean, McDonald's don't make the best food in the world, I think we all agree, but you know what you're going to get every time you go there. Right? It's consistently the same, whether it's good or bad or ugly, but it's the same. Right? And so, and there's a lot of organisations that understand that, and just the reliability, okay? And so it's really, it's if you can get your head around that what drives customers' satisfaction needs today are service, quality, consistent, reliability and relationships. Now you notice that I actually don't have price up there because it's not a major contributing factor today. Obviously, you know, there is an element of that, but you know, I have seen lots of examples where a price was cheaper, but it was outbid by quality and service. Okay. I'll give you an example when it comes to service and price and comparing them. My wife Colleen and I, we've been renovating our home, and you know, we've had people come and do quotes over the last couple of years, and just on sort of one particular item that we're getting done, we invited 3 people to come and do quotes. Okay, all the similar type product, you know, just different companies. We thought we'd get quotes. All of them had reps, so they're all sales reps. So the first guy didn't even show up on the appointment date. Okay, so you know, we're waiting around, no phone call, no notice, doesn't show up. So then 2 days later, he rings up and apologises, you know, blah, 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 blah. So you give him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, okay, mate, that's okay. So come back for another quote. Book another day. So he books another day, and guess what? He shows up late. Okay? So, you know, this is going really well. And so he comes in, we explain him what we want to do. He's not engaging. You know, you can just see he's just not with it. It's like he'd rather be somewhere else rather than, you know, being with us. He digs down the details, you know, there's no real engagement there, there's no real relationship building, and yep, great, look, we'll send a quote in the next couple of days. So then a week later was chasing the quote and still hasn't arrived. Right now, you know what's interesting about this? That his boss is probably sitting there thinking, I wonder why we're not winning any more quotes. You know, we just don't seem to be getting many jobs in. So anyway, so we put that quote on the table, and so the second guy comes in on time, spends an hour with us, goes through all the information, you know, really asks questions about what we're trying to achieve, all that sort of stuff, and not salesman stuff. He was just genuine. He was just a nice bloke, and took the time, gave us some suggestions that we hadn't thought of on how we could do it to make it easier and better. And we went, mate, that's great. So then he said, yeah, I'll get a quote off to you as soon as we can, and then got an email that afternoon saying, look, thanks for catching up. I just thought I'd send you a few photos of, you know, some jobs we've done in the past, just so you know what it might look like. So that was great, and 2 days later the quote's there. Now the third guy, right, he was late getting to the appointment, and basically we're still waiting for a quote. Okay. And so we end up getting a fourth guy because we thought, well, we really wanted 3. And so the fourth one came in, and again, it was very, very average. Now, you know what's interesting about all of that? Out of those 4 quotes, out of the 3 quotes that we got, there was very little difference in the price. So here we are, we're talking about similar product, you know, same sort of, you know, companies that do the jobs, and the price is pretty much the same. So who do you think we picked? Number 2, obviously. Okay. So what drove our decision? It was not the price. It was basically the, you know. In fact, his was probably the dearest of all of them, but only marginally. But again, it was a little bit dearer, and it could have been a bit more dear, and it probably wouldn't have mattered. But again, it just goes to show you the psyche of what drives a buying decision. Okay. very much about being driven. So, what do your customers think of you? What type of customer do you have? Do you know? Probably not. You may think you know, but you may not. Okay. So, I have a bit of a saying I always tend to use, and that is, you can't manage if you don't measure. I'm hoping that many of you in the room manage your or measure your business performance by looking at your cash flows and your blah blah blahs and your blah blah blahs, and you measure those so you can then manage to adjust to suit. So if your customer is your number one asset in your business, if your customer is your number one priority, are you measuring your performance in meeting their expectations and their satisfaction levels? Now, I'm not necessarily talking about doing cold clinical surveys or cold clinical sort of, telemarketing type calls. There are different ways that you can go about that. And one of them is basically just by building relationships, which I'm going to touch on shortly. All right. But if you don't know, what your customers think of you, then it's something that you really need to think about addressing very, very quickly. Because if your number one asset and your number one income earner is your customer, what systems do you currently have in place to actually measure your performance with them? Here's another important note to remember. 70% of customers actually don't verbalise their complaint or dissatisfaction. Okay? They're the silent killer in your business. There might be some stuff that's just cheesing them off, and you don't know about it unless you're measuring to unearth what that might be. All right. So it's really important that you get that that you sort of get that feedback from them. I find that some business owners are actually don't want to ask what their customers think because they're frightened of the answer. It's like, oh, I don't ask them; they might tell me, and that's a dangerous place to be. Okay. Good quote there from Bill Gates. Some of your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. If you've had a customer who has had a bad experience, don't be frightened to ask them, apologise for it and accept the error, and because that could be, as it says there, your greatest source of learning and an opportunity to maybe identify where there's an issue and address it. So, just because they're unhappy, I mean, I've worked with business owners and they've had a complaint and they don't want to ring them because I don't want to get my ear chewed off. I'm having a bad enough day as it is. I don't want to, ring them up and get a mouthful. They're not getting it. That complaint is the greatest opportunity that you will ever get. Okay, because if it's happened once, there's a very good opportunity. There's a very good chance it might happen again and again and again, and it will snowball into being a real problem within your business. Okay, customer relationships. This one also has become increasingly important within your business and in that equation to creating satisfied customers. You really need to have a genuine care factor. You need to have regular contact with them, and you also need to maintain good communications. Once again, you say, but where do I find the time to do that? It's about prioritising. Again, we're putting that customer up on the top of the pedestal. It's your number one asset. It's the priority number one. So again, what am I doing to maintain relationships? All right, because again, I see this happen all the time with business owners. They get really excited about opening up a business, and and then they get busy, and then those relationships break down. I mean, I'll give you a bit of an example. Okay, here's what I see happen a lot. Okay, so some of you might relate to this, some of you won't. It's a bit of a it's an exaggerated example, I know, but maybe you'll get the point about relationships. All right. So I've just opened up a new business, or you might have just started a new role, and whatever the case might be. Tab, do you want to just? And so, I've set up business, I've invested, I hope this works out, right? And then Tab comes along and she's a customer, right? Oh, I got one! I got one! Oh, beauty, there you go. What's your name?
Tabitha.
Oh, Tabitha. Where are you from, Tab?
Singleton.
Oh, Singleton? Okay, what do you do?
I'm a therapist.
You're a therapist, so I need you. Oh, great, you've got family?
Yes.
Oh, great, okay, well, I really appreciate your business and being here. So, Chris, can I have you come up and stand up there? So if you want to just come in front of... Now I've got two. So just come in here, you want to go to the back of the line? Right? So, there you go. Wait, my name. That's yours?
Chris.
Where you from, mate?
Yeah, Huntley.
Oh, Huntley, okay. And what business do you operate?
Huntley retail.
Oh, okay, cool. Are you married? Kids?
No, it's a touchy subject.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
Next question.
Next customer. Can I have you just come up? Yeah. Right. Now, no, you go to the back of the line. Yeah. How are you doing? What's your name?
Nicole.
Oh, Nicole. How are you, Nicole?
Good, thanks.
Good. Thanks for coming in, sort of, buying from us, for what a bit of time. So, where are you from?
Singleton.
Oh, Singleton. Okay, yeah. Do you have your business?
The human HR.
Oh, cool. Cool. All right. Okay. So, just go to the back of the line.
Oh,
Yep. Oh, great. Nice to see you back in. Good to see you back in. How's did you say you had kids before?
yes.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. So, I heard you won an award the other night. That was
Yes.
pretty cool. That's excellent. All right. When you go to the back of the line. Now, what happens? I start to get busy over here in the business, don't I? In the stuff, right? And then Chris comes in. I go, "Hey, Chris, there you go. Go to the back of the line." And then, so I get another new customer. Simon, would you like to come up? Right. So Simon comes in. As a customer, right? And I go, "G'day, mate, good to see you."
Yeah, good to see you too.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, go to the back of the line. Right? Because I'm now busy. So I start to revert to the old, "G'day, mate, how you going?" Because I can't remember everyone's name now because I don't have the time or the inclination to do so because I'm just busy doing the stuff, right? So, can you go back to the line? Hi, Tab, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, nice to see you back again. Yeah, you can see that chair.
Yeah.
So, Chris is back. G'day, mate, how you going? Yeah, business is going well, mate? Yeah, good. I really appreciate your business, mate. Thanks a lot. So, and then Simon's here. Right? Simon's ignoring me now. Okay, all right. Now, so he goes back to one. Now, I could bring all of you up here one by one, and I won't because it's going to drag it out. You're starting to get the message here, right? And if I do that, I could do this for half an hour, and I could point over and I could say to Tab, "There you go, over there, Tab," because Tab's just sitting over there in the darkness now, right? Because she doesn't get any attention from me at all. Because I just don't have the time to do that. Right? So I would say to you, when people walk into your business, what attention are you giving them? Okay? Or within your network that you have that drives your business. Really important to understand that. Thanks, guys. Okay. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Again, it's an exaggerated example, but it sort of does just drive the point home that, when we first start out, we're really excited, we spend time with people, but over a period of time we start to lose that relationship, we start to lose that contact, and then with new customers come in, we don't give them the attention that we gave customers in the beginning, and slowly it all starts to erode away, and then you're wondering why your customers are starting to slip down that type of customer list that we talked about. Okay, now Tab might have been a superior, might have been an ambassador in the beginning, but I'm pretty sure she's not an ambassador now since she's been sitting over in the naughty corner, okay? And that's what can happen. if you're not in contact with your customers at least every 60 to 90 days, they are no longer your customer. They are now on the open market. So if you don't have a touch point with your customer every 60 to 90 days, right, they're no longer your customer. Now there's different ways you can go around that touch point, and again it depends on the type of business that you have, where you have a lot of walk-in business, or if you have a business that's more remote. There's all sorts of issues around that, but you need to be trying to find ways, and again there are companies that can help you identify how to do that and do it well. Okay. Get closer than ever to your customer, so close in fact that you tell them what they need well before they realise it themselves. So what does that mean? Well, it means if you've got a good relationship with your customer and you're engaging with them and it's genuine, they'll probably more than likely actually share with you, what it is they're actually looking for, or it might be a product that you've never thought of running, or who knows, or a service. It could be anything. Okay. It just simply might be something that you don't know because you don't know. But by having that relationship and that touch point with someone, there's a far better chance of you getting that information, which will also help with profits. So, customer satisfaction. And remember, the equation for that is customer service, customer relationships equals customer satisfaction, and that should be your benchmark, because that then creates the type of customer that you have. Right? I could share with you hundreds of different stories of people that I've sat with over the years talking about this subject. And I remember a guy who was only a small to medium business operator, pretty arrogant sort of guy, to be honest. And then, when we sat with him initially, he wanted to, he had a rebuttal for all of this sort of stuff, garbage, blah, blah, blah. And he, at one point, he pulled out some accounting records and he put it in front of me. He says, look, I don't need this sort of stuff. I don't need this sort of stuff, and here's why. And he showed me, he said, look, here's my bottom line, basically. So I don't need this sort of stuff. And I said, so what you're telling me then is you're happy with the amount of revenue and profit that you've got. Well, don't be stupid. Anyone would like to have more revenue and more profit, right? I said, well, I'm trying to help you understand that if you address some of the things that I believe are lacking in your business, we can actually increase that bottom line. Oh, no, look, we have really good customers, and so it went on and on. Now, it took a bit of doing, but we finally got him across the line. I said, look, how about we do a pilot program? Let's just do a pilot program, right? Let's just do something, and and I'll do it at a reduced, because it wasn't to me about the money so much. I just wanted to prove the point to him that he was just dead set wrong. Okay, because he thought he was already at that superior service. His bottom line showed it, whatever. So we went into that organisation, we did a complete customer satisfaction audit on it, we looked at his processes, we looked at his systems, we looked at his culture, and we introduced a few different pieces. And over just 8 months, profit increased by 38%. And most of that was driven simply by raising the level of the customer satisfaction level, which led to greater referrals. So he didn't even have to spend money on advertising or marketing. It simply came from the customers he already had by meeting their expectations, which he hadn't been doing in the past. His type of customer was sitting down there around that satisfactory level, okay, and we got them up. We didn't get them to superior, but we got them pretty close up to the mark, okay. So that's the impact that it can have on your business, right? Customer satisfaction leads to increased repeat business, increased referrals, increased reputation, and increased profits. Now, on that first worksheet that I handed out and I asked you to circle all those things, and we all agreed that A was the best choice, that A is actually driven by having high customer satisfaction levels. And of course, it leads to repeat business, which means more profits. Because I've said in that sheet that I gave out earlier about which is the best customer to have, the customer you already have or the customer you're trying to get. The customer you already have is your greatest asset in terms of repeat business and referrals. And it costs a lot less to sell to them again, and it costs a lot less to actually get new customers through them through referrals. Now that doesn't mean that you don't need people like Liv and Liv Media with social media and other forms of marketing, but one thing I do see is I see people go, well, we'll just go and spend all our money over here on marketing and advertising and see what new customers we can get. And they don't leverage enough off the customers they already have. Because the customer that you already have, that you fought so hard to get, is your best chance of actually getting not only repeat business, right, but referrals very cheaply, which will just drive profits. All right. So, question I would ask all of you in the room: are you getting the best value out of your existing customers, or are you chasing new ones all the time? Okay. So maybe it just needs a bit of a change of focus in that area. So, just wanted to touch a little on referrals. Referrals you'll find will mainly come from the type of customers where your service is either very good, excellent, and superior. They're the ones that drive referrals, they're probably so I suppose the question for you is, what is the best customer to have then if I've got a greater chance of getting referrals? They're the three types that you're looking for. So the good news is a lot of you are probably already spending money on traditional marketing and advertising. What I would suggest is try and redirect some of that already spent funds into looking at what you can do in terms of focusing on your customer, which will then drive customer referrals, right? But remember, the number of referrals given by your clients will be dramatically increased by understanding that you must first get right that customer service and customer satisfaction, right? If you don't get those right, you're just not going to get the referrals. And the reason being, and I'm sure you're all the same, customers will only feel comfortable in referring you when they feel confident you will not let them down, okay? I don't know about you, but I'm not going to recommend, those couple of guys that came and did the quote for us that were hopeless, am I? Because, that's going to come back on me. Ultimately, they're going to go, oh man, you gave me a bum steer there with that guy, he was hopeless, right? So, the referral will only happen if they're actually confident that you're not going to let them down with that, right? Here's an important one, and please don't do this. You do not insult your clients by asking referrals if you're not worthy of it. And I see this happen all the time. I see businesses who start to promote, referral programs or, spotter fees or this or that, and if you find us a customer, we'll give you a free gift card. All this, they're all asking, and they don't actually deserve the referral in the first place. Okay, so please do not ask for referrals. You will find that if you take on board what I'm telling you today, and if you really focus on increasing your customer satisfaction levels, referrals will just come organically. They will come anyway. Who in the room has had a really good customer experience? Okay? Did you share that with somebody? There's probably a good chance that you did. Most of us will probably, say, gee, man, we went out there the other night and it was awesome, the service was, fantastic, blah, 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 blah. Right? The danger that we have today also is with social media is that, bad word of mouth can spread a lot quicker than good word of mouth. Has anyone noticed that? All right? People are far more inclined to talk about the negative, right, than the positive. And this one from Jeff Bezos, I think, says it all. If you make customers unhappy in the physical world, all right, they might each tell 6 friends. If you make customers unhappy on the internet, and what he means by that, if they've got access to the internet and social media, they can each tell 6,000, and we see that quite a lot. And as I said, unfortunately, people are more inclined to share the negative than the positive. So you've got to make sure that you don't have that negative happening. Also, appreciation of if you do get a referral from someone, okay, make sure that you actually, number one, first of all, recognise that that person gave the referral. So say if Tab rings, says to someone, hey, listen, why don't you contact Wayne at the Business Chamber, I think they would be really good for your business, blah, 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 and they become a member, I got to ring Tab and go, Tab, I just want to let you know, I really appreciate that referral, that guy's come and joined the business, okay? Really appreciate it, right? So you're recognising the referral. If you're in a position in your business where you can reward someone for a referral, again, you're not enticing them to give you the referral by hanging a carrot, right? You're actually rewarding them after the event that they've actually given you a referral. Give them a little gift card or give them a voucher or something like that. Because you know what the chance is? Tab will actually give me another one. Okay? All right? And it will just feed upon itself. And then also communicate the result. So if Tab would have given me a referral for someone to come and do the quote at the home, I would have rang her up and said, look, Tab, I just want to let you know, guys rang me, said that you recommended him, I really want to thank you for that. Right? Guy comes out and does the quote, da-da-da-da. I would ring Tab back and go, look, Tab, just want to let you know, just the feedback on that referral we gave me, we've just gone with that guy, he's awesome. Right? What do you think the chances of Tab now giving me another one? Higher or lower? Higher. Okay? All right. So you've got to keep that on the radar as well. Again, when it comes to appreciation, be sincere, be genuine. Don't let it be a cold, clinical sort of send them an email type thing and, blah, blah, blah. Try and steer away from all of that. And the other thing is, do you also have a system in place within your business to actually capture and record those referrals of where they've come from, the result, etc. Remember what I said about measure and management? Okay, really important that you also do that. So, let's sort of get towards the end of where we started, back to where we started. And so, hopefully, we've gone from boring, switch off, heard it all before, to, okay, it's now our number one priority. I'm going to leave today with a real customer focus. I understand the importance now of the customer and the importance it is in my business. I'm going to put some systems in place to try and monitor their satisfaction levels, and try and move them up that scale to create, the type of customer that we need to create. Are there any questions? Well, that's a bit dangerous.
Right.
Yes.
I would suggest to you that every business has a percentage of customers in each one of those brackets that you mentioned.
Yep.
In another sense, do you have a recommendation for how to handle going forwards the clients in the different brackets?
Yep. I suppose the thing that would flag for me if you've got customers in different brackets would be the word consistency. Is that must be hit and miss within the business, that some customers are unhappy for some reason with an experience, so that the level of service must not be consistent. Must be, and it might be a personnel thing, it might be whatever it is, because you don't really want that inconsistency. I would much prefer to have everyone at loyal than someone at superior and someone as a terrorist. Okay, I much prefer to have them running at that sort of level. So I think it would be a matter of really getting together with, if you do have those inconsistencies, sit with the clients that are down in the lower order and try and identify why they are down the ladder. Now, having said that, I mean, a lot of you in the room, you're in business or you work with people. You can't satisfy everybody. You all know that, don't you? Okay? All right? There are some people you just can't please. All right? Now, again, your processes and systems, and again, if you've got a relationship and all that with them, you know those sorts of people and you sort of just put them over here to this side and you don't let them dilute the message of where your customers are, because they are a little bit unique. And often they know they're unique. Okay? And so they'll just sit over here. So you will always have those. I mean, if you have a business where you have 100% of people that are off the chart, then good luck to you. I don't think that will happen. All right? But you'll always have a percentage that it doesn't matter what you do. And who's found the one that has the problem that you try and fix by trying to do the right thing, something happens and it makes the situation worse. You haven't even find that? And it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets worse. It's like, oh. So you always you're in a business. yeah. So it's that's the nature of business. But the majority of people you're looking to put in that top tier or somewhere up in that top tier. Any other questions? Yep.
When you have customers in my line of work, I often get messages back from them, because I don't always meet them, that they are very happy with the results. Would you then ask them for a recommendation? Or?
No, what I would do, mate, is again, it's the passive referral you're looking for, not asking for it. I would text them back and say, look, really appreciate the feedback. If there's anything else we can do for you in the future, don't hesitate to ask. Okay. Who in the room doesn't like being sold to or rung up and telemarketed to? And again, I talked about that pendulum swing earlier. In the early days, telemarketing and cold calling used to work, and then we all became more worldly and more. We all understand that, and we're all just tired of it. Okay, and so what you want to do, mate. Hopefully, they might be a customer. I know your line of work is you're not dealing with them all the time, but if you do a really good job at what you're doing, you will find that they will just refer you anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thanks everybody. We're just about on time. So, just in wrapping up, all I wish from today is that you put a thing on your wall in the office or whatever, or a note on your calendar or whatever it is. My customer is number one, right? And understand why you say that. Right? And understand that it's so important today in the competitive world that we live in, that you need to do something that stands you out from the crowd, because there's very little chance that price will make a point of difference for you, because someone's probably quite prepared to match your price. Quality is not a huge difference, because there's not a huge difference in quality today. What's the one thing that you have control over that can totally change the landscape of your business? And that's your customer. Because the way you treat your customer is not how your competitor can treat your customer. Your competitor can match your price, your competitor can match your quality, but they can't match what the service levels and the satisfaction levels you give to your customers.